Alright, before you asking questions like, what happened to 1 and 2? No, I did not already review them, and I probably won't. Why skip to Stepfather 3, you might ask? Well, to be honest with you, years ago I caught this one on TV, and there's just one character in here I've wanted to talk about ever since. Father Brennan, whom I like to call father, priest, teacher, cop, voice of reason, friend of the family, because I can't lie. The first time I watched this, I thought he was 5 different characters. He's the shining star in this pile of Bubba's digested dinner. This is the third installment in an unknown slasher franchise that gets suffocated in the shadows of dozens, if not hundreds, of other horror franchises. This being the third and final film in the franchise, all the way up until 2009 when it's rebooted, Terry O'Quinn would not return to reprise his role as our lead slasher. So, the film here opens up with a plastic surgery, although we don't get Clive Barker's surgery. We do get a quick kill. Once the surgery is done, he dies, with Keith's secrets taking a bloodyless bone saw to the throat. That being a good time to point out there's two versions of this film. An X-rated with blood, R-rated with really barely any. Which there's no point for this film to have an X rating in my opinion. It barely even exceeds PG-13 to get an R rating, let alone an X. Regardless, I'm sure I saw the R-rated version because from the clips I've seen of the X-rated cut, there's no real reason for the rating other than the corner of the market for the horror creators at the time, but that's the issue the culture faced for years, and even today, when films like Frozen get PG-13. Where that leaves films like Last of the Lake, I have no idea, but back to the film. Keith makes a new life for himself in a small town called Clearview, where he gets all dressed up as the Easter Bunny for the father, teacher, priest, cop, voice of reason, friend of the family. The church has an event for Easter, and it's here that he meets his love interest, Christine, and her son Andy, who's wheelchair bound after an accident. After 2 weeks and 3 dates, they get married. Seems a little rushed to me, but who am I to judge? In a struggle for this movie to find a plot, Andy follows unsolved murder cases and coincidentally follows Keith's unsolved cases from the first two films. But Andy doesn't know it's Keith from the plastic surgery. But he starts putting two and two together over time. Meanwhile, Keith racks up a few measly kills as people step in, threatening to ruin his family life. Horrible one-liners tagged onto each kill. Eventually, the second family Keith got entangled with comes to haunt him. He starts in an attempt to cover up everything, but he ends up killing off the best part of this film. John Ingle's character, the father, priest, cop, teacher, voice of reason, friend of the family, sadly meets his end. He tracks him down, steering wheeling him to death before lighting up a rag in his gas tank and rolling him off a cliff in a fiery explosion. Yes, I said steering wheeling him to death. That's not a word, but I made it one. The father, priest, cop, friend of the... You get the gist. His funeral is actually a touching scene since Andy thought of him as his best friend, and to see him speak at the funeral is actually kind of sad. Next up on the chopping block is his side piece. He tracks her down to the nursery where he works, and he Will Smiths her straight to the face. He's going to throw the chipper, but Andy convinces his mom to stop by the nursery. Christine runs in, and she gets thrown down to the ground too, leaving it all up to Andy, who grabs his wheelchair, making his way there. But once he sees his mom in danger, he somehow turns into Hal Jordan since the kid has enough willpower to stand up. Because that's how medical science works. This kid needs a Green Lantern ring, since apparently if you can't walk, just wait for a washed-up slash film and try and kill your mom. And if you have the will, you will walk again. I give it the Sawyer family guarantee. Andy manages to knock Keith into an already on wood chipper, and it's here that we actually get an end to a forgotten slasher villain. A warranted death, leaving no sequel hook and a genuine end to the franchise. This was something I liked from this film. It doesn't toy with the audience and instead gives you what you deserve. After sitting through this hot mess of a film, you get closure. Something most horror films don't really give you. The wood chipper kill is great too. I mean, it's just as good as you would imagine. The production team was kind of put in a corner since Terry O'Quinn was not returning for this film, but I'm glad there was an in-universe canon reason for the cast change, no matter how ridiculous it is. It also gives us a bonus kill in the beginning since the film only has 4 kills in it. One of them being Keith himself, the father, priest, cop, teacher, voice of reason, friend of the family's death. Was sad as well. But that's the main reason why I returned to this film anyway. I tried to find more behind the scenes stuff on this film, but there's really not a whole lot of information withheld online because I don't know, it wasn't documented well, I guess. But overall, this is probably the most random film I could have chosen for October, really, because I'm not doing any of the previous films. I'm not doing the remake. I just wanted to talk about the priest, cop, voice of reason, friend of the family, teacher, whatever the hell he is, just because I thought it was a funny moment in horror history. Because rewatching it now, I understand that gag really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but just having watched it the first time, I genuinely thought he was 5 different characters. I probably should visit the other 3 films, considering I've heard the first one's good, and The remake trailer makes it look promising, yet that'll have to be for another day. So until then.
Andy's back.
Red alert! Red alert! Andy is coming upstairs! Gah! There!
Sergeant, repeat! Resume your positions now!
Andy's coming, everybody! Back to your places! Hurry!